For the last 12 years, the country's debt has grown from just under 2 trillion shillings to 11 trillion shillings, according to government estimates. Data from the Central Bank of Kenya shows that as of December 2024, Kenya owed its lenders 10.9 trillion shillings, of which nearly 54% was owed to local lenders, while 46% is external. During President Ruto's tenure, the public debt has grown in absolute terms by more than 2 trillion shillings from 8.7 trillion shillings in total.
The problem around our debt is that when we inflate our denominator, we continue to show like the economy grew with the purpose of having a leg room of borrowing more. The problem is that you cannot teach figures for too long. It catches up with you, and especially when it is time for repayment.
And as the National Treasury prepares the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, there is a plan to spend up to 4.2 trillion shillings. Out of this, an estimated 1 trillion shillings will be required to finance payment of interest on debt. MP Ndindi Nyoro says based on current trends, 750 billion shillings will go towards servicing domestic debt, while 200 billion shillings the expenditure on external debt. Nyoro cautioning that the country is edging towards defaulting in repayment of debts.
You should be borrowing for development alone. But even by doing the math, even with a pencil, if we take our revenue collection, you remove CFS, you remove salaries, you're already in red. It means the money we borrow, some of it is for budget support, and clearly that money is for recurrent.
President William Ruto is set to travel to China in a Kenyan delegation, with speculation rife that conversations about the country's debt challenges could be held. The former Budget and Appropriations Committee chair says any attempt to change debt terms by Kenya could raise eyebrows in the international financial system.
Visits to China currently or other bilaterals, I can assure you, will be about debt primarily. Because we are almost at a cliff in terms of debt repayment, and especially interest rate. The problem is that when you go to your creditors to discuss about either rescheduling debt or working around new terms, what are you telling the markets? When you give signals that you have problems with paying debt, the international market starts to sense you as somebody who may also change terms when they lend you money.
Until February this year, Nyoro led the Budget and Appropriation Committee, defending the government's policies in containing the budget deficits that remain a concern for the country as it requires more borrowing.
If we do not become more prudent in the several months to come, we are likely to have a very big problem with our debt. Why? If in our revenue collection, over 40% is going into interest rate alone of debt obligations, what are we talking about?
Nyoro says the increase of taxes since 2022 has left a negative impact to the economy.
You know, many times we confuse that you add tax rate, you get more revenue. It is a fallacy. At some point you get to Rafa's curve and it starts descending. That the more you increase, the more you distort economic decisions. So if I was to buy a car, I see you've already paying for my money, so I hold back that expenditure. Holding back that expenditure means even the retro you could have gotten, you'll not get it.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.